Roxanne is rushed to the hospital after brutally attacked by Liv Morgan. Holy suplex, Batman. What in the absolute chaos just happened on WWE television? Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, the future of women's wrestling, the NXT Women's Champion who has been on an absolute tear, just got absolutely decimated by Liv Morgan in an attack so vicious, so brutal, so downright shocking that medical personnel had no choice but to rush her to the hospital faster than a ref calling for the bell after a career-ending injury. If you think you have seen everything WWE has to offer, think again, because what went down is going to have the entire wrestling world talking for weeks. But before we break down every bone-crunching detail of this absolute carnage, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button like Liv just hit Roxanne, and smash that notification bell harder than a steel chair shot to the skull, because WWE Extreme is about to give you the full story behind one of the most intense moments of the year. Let us set the stage here, because context is everything when we are talking about an attack this personal, this calculated, and this absolutely brutal. Roxanne Perez has been untouchable in NXT, running through the women's division like a hot knife through butter. The woman is barely in her 20s and already has more accolades than wrestlers twice her age could dream of achieving. She has held the NXT Women's Championship. She has main event premium live events. And she has proven time and time again that size does not matter when you have the heart of a champion and skills sharper than a freshly honed blade. Roxanne represents everything right about modern women's wrestling, a technically sound performer who can tell stories in the ring that make grown adults cry. Now, enter Liv Morgan, and this is where things get absolutely wild. Liv has been on the main roster for years, bouncing between Raw and SmackDown like a ping-pong ball at a championship match. She has had her moments in the sun, holding championships and being part of major storylines. But lately, something has changed in Liv Morgan. There is a darkness, an edge, a mean streak that makes her previous character look like a cartoon character at a children's birthday party. Liv has transformed from the underdog we all cheered for into something far more sinister, far more dangerous, and apparently, far more willing to cross lines that should never be crossed. The attack itself was not just a simple beat down. Oh no, this was premeditated, orchestrated, and executed with the precision of a seasoned veteran who wanted to make a statement louder than a rock concert at full volume. Reports indicate that Liv ambushed Roxanne backstage when she least expected it, catching her completely off guard like a surprise roll-up in the middle of a match. But this was not a quick attack and escape situation. Liv allegedly went full psychopath mode, using everything she could get her hands on as weapons. We are talking about steel chairs, equipment cases, the concrete floor itself becoming instruments of destruction in Liv's hands. Witnesses backstage described the scene as absolute chaos, with multiple wrestlers and personnel rushing to pull Liv off Roxanne before things got even worse. But here is the scary part. Liv was not just attacking randomly. She was targeting specific areas, working over Roxanne's head, her neck, her back, the parts of the body that when damaged can end careers faster than a botched shooting star press. This was not just about sending a message. This was about potentially ending Roxanne Perez's career before it truly reached its peak. The viciousness, the intensity, the pure unfiltered rage that Liv displayed had veterans backstage shaking their heads in disbelief. Medical personnel arrived on the scene faster than Roman Reigns spearing someone through the barricade, but the damage was already done. Roxanne was reportedly in and out of consciousness, showing signs of a serious concussion, potential spinal injuries, and various other traumas that required immediate hospitalization. The decision was made instantly to get her medical attention at a proper facility where doctors could assess the full extent of the damage Liv Morgan inflicted. Watching Roxanne being loaded into an ambulance was heartbreaking. Seeing someone so talented, so young, so full of potential, being wheeled away on a stretcher because another wrestler lost complete control. But here's where we need to ask the hard questions, because this situation raises issues that go beyond just a storyline beat down. Was this attack sanctioned by WWE Creative? Was this supposed to happen this way? Or did Liv go off script and take things too far? Wrestling has a long, complicated history of workers shooting on each other, of real animosity boiling over into legitimate violence, and sometimes the line between reality and fiction gets blurred worse than a camera lens covered in Vaseline. If this was planned, then WWE Creative just produced one of the most intense angles in recent memory. If this was not planned, then we have a serious problem that needs addressing immediately. The wrestling community's reaction was split faster than the Red Sea in that biblical story. Some fans praised the realism and intensity, arguing that wrestling needs more of these edge-of-your-seat moments that make you question what is real and what is scripted. Others were absolutely horrified, believing that WWE went too far and potentially put Roxanne's health and career in jeopardy for the sake of shock value. Social media exploded with debates, arguments, and hot takes hotter than the surface of the sun. Hashtags supporting both Roxanne and Liv trended simultaneously, showing just how divided the fan base was on whether this attack crossed ethical lines. Now, let us talk about what this means for both women moving forward, because the implications are massive. If Roxanne is legitimately injured and needs significant time off to recover, that throws the entire NXT women's division into chaos. Who holds the championship? How do storylines adjust? What happens to the momentum Roxanne built over months of incredible performances? On the flip side, Liv Morgan just established herself as one of the most dangerous, most unpredictable, most must-see performers in all of WWE. This is the kind of character work that creates stars, that makes people tune in every week because they genuinely do not know what will happen next. The hospital reports, and we need to be careful here because medical information is private and protected, suggest that Roxanne underwent extensive testing including CT scans, MRIs, and neurological evaluations to determine the full scope of injuries sustained during Liv's attack. Wrestling fans know that concussions are no joke in this business. We have seen too many careers ended but we cannot ignore the elephant in the room, which is whether WWE is glamorizing violence in a way that crosses ethical boundaries. Wrestling is violent by nature. We all understand that. But there's a difference between theatrical violence and attacks that result in legitimate hospitalization. Where is the line? When does entertainment become irresponsible? These are questions WWE needs to consider, especially in an era where they are trying to present themselves as a mainstream, family-friendly product while simultaneously producing content this intense and potentially disturbing. Thanks for watching WWE Extreme, and we will keep you updated on Roxanne's condition as more information becomes available.